And then I have to turn everything down. And I'm going to mute everybody. There we go. I did it. It's done. You are muted. And always, there we go. All right. It doesn't ever tell me that it's actually live. I mean, it does, but it's already gone live before that happens. So YouTube people, welcome to the world, the wonderful world of exercise with Laura. It is somatic mat class, and today I'm in a Zoom room with other people. We're going to focus on the wrists, the rotator cuff, and then this relationship of center to periphery, so core distal, center to edges. And we're going to actually start with breathing. So inhale, stretch out and up. And in this breathing, feel your fingertips, feel your feet on the floor. And we could also think of like the core as partly being our lungs. I mean, when I'm thinking core, I'm thinking the whole torso. Inhale, lift. And for me, it's not just muscles, it's organs as well. It's all the systems working together. Inhale, open, feel out to the tips of your fingers, feel the soles of your feet, feel the middle of your body. And exhale. Let's just do a shake for a second. So in my class, obviously, if you're in your own home, in your own room, I'm not policing your movement. So you get to do it however you want. If you need to adjust anything, change it, feel free. Inhale, lift and open, and exhale, soften and bend. Yeah, I feel like sometimes fitness classes are like, or boot camps are kind of just like this sort of sadomasochism moment of getting to boss people around or being told what to do. And I can admit that sometimes it's very comforting to be told what to do and to have a very specific authoritarian right or wrong. But for most of my movement, I generally don't want too much of that, unless it's for the sake of, not falling off a pole or something like that. Inhale, let's lift and open. And exhale, take it all the way down. From here, we're just going to shift from side to side. Let it go. Yeah, so it might be something to consider. And I know that all the people in my actual Zoom room probably prefer a little bit of free thinking. But if you are somebody who really likes to be told what to do and know that you're doing it right in movement and fitness, just notice that. Do you like to be, do you like authoritarian fitness? Or do you like something a little more free flow where you listen into your own body? And then take it into center and roll it up. A little philosophy with our movement this morning. We're going to stretch into an X, and we're going to do the vertical plane. So we're going to reach into high right, out to that edge, into high left, find that edge, to low right, to low left. High right, we got a weight shift going, side side, high left, low right, low left. Center to the edge, core distal, center to the edge, low right, low left, high right, high left, low right, low left. So one thing I think when we have injuries in our shoulders, our elbows, our wrists, our hands, when we can recruit the whole body and feel this sense of wholeness, it's helpful to heal that. So we're going to take it up and we're just going to spiral the arms. So as I'm spiraling my hands, I feel it go all the way down. I can feel it all the way into my scapula. I can kind of feel it all the way into that whole upper quadrant. So we could spiral the same direction, and often we do that internal rotation, external rotation. Or we can spiral in two different directions, right? One's going in, one's going out, which is going to add a little bit of more of a twist into our spine. And then release that, and let's do it low. What happens down there? Wrists. That's fingertips through your wrists, through your elbow, through your rotator cuff, all the way into your spine, right? All the way into my head. What's going on this side of the room? What's going on this side? I could present this way and then this way, right? Shake it out, and let's take it down to the floor. So I'm going to sit cross-legged on the floor. I wonder, like the cat's have had a pretty good morning. For anyone who's concerned, Gaylord is doing much better. He had a huge dose of antibiotics and he seems to be pretty well recovered. So, yeah, he went through a major health crisis. Thank God. Fingers crossed that's over. All right, let's go side to side. And I'm going to also, again, really feel into my fingertips. I'm going to try some spiraling there so I can feel how that relates into here, right? Fingertips, radius and ulna, humerus, clavicle, scapula, rib cage. And there's a ton of fascia holding that all together. And then come up, and then the same thing on the other side, over to the side, feeling that relationship. I can even feel the relationship from my sit bone on the floor through the side of my body up through my fingertips. You can look down towards the floor and up if you want to add the head. If you don't, just do the hands. So if you're avoiding that twisting, don't add the head. And then come up, and we're going to go the whole way to the side, very gently, reaching away from center, all the way to the other side, and inhale, open. So this very exercise, here's my center, and here's the edge, right? It's a very core distal exercise from the center to the edge, feeling my whole body. I even feel my feet as my weight is shifting around over my feet. Inhale, open. Exhale, sideways, taking it forward to the side. Inhale, exhale, sideways. And open. And one more. Connecting into my lungs. So as I'm moving around like this, I'm getting that diaphragm movement. Let's change legs, whichever one was not there, we're going to change. And we're going to also change the exercise. So we're going to circle around. Rib cage, lungs, heart. Feel free to actually make noise with this. Right? We're so quieted by the world, especially females, but males too. Everyone is often told to be quieter. So feel free to make some noise. Change direction, other way. Getting that rib cage and diaphragm mobilizing around. So I've got my center moving and my periphery, my distal, is fairly stable here. So I'm mobilizing in the center and I'm using my hands on my knees, very stable, to allow that mobility in the center. And then we're going to take it down and just soften. Relax your head and neck. You can turn your head from side to side. Free up the spine if that feels good. Just softening and melting in, moving your body, mobilizing your spine. And then come back up and let's take our legs out in front. I'm going to shift my mat. And actually, you know what? We're not going to take our legs out in front. Sorry, I want to change this. We're going to go onto hands and knees. And we're actually going to crawl forward and backward on the mat. So you're just going to move yourself forward. Hopefully you have enough padding under your knees, and then move yourself back. And just feel into what is your body doing as you move forward and back. What's happening in your guts? So again, we have center to periphery, core distal. If you feel like, I got to get more action, then do it like this. If you need to have more of a workout, you can do your crawling from a different type of quadruped. All right, let that go for a second. Hands, we're going to turn in and out. You know I love this exercise so much. Yeah. Letting the relationship from the tips of your fingers through the arms into the heart and lungs mobilize. And you can add a little bit of spinal movement, opening and closing, if that feels good. Opening, closing, opening, closing, and last one, opening and closing. So for my TV land people, just to let you know, I am doing these lives Saturdays and Mondays. Saturdays at 9:30 and Mondays at 9 Eastern time. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to take our weight backwards and then forwards. And thinking about the tail reaching back and then the head reaching forward. So my tail and my sit bones are reaching back. I can arch my lower back a little bit, or I can round it depending on kind of the flexibility in my spine, and forward and backward. And so you can see this relationship in my arm, and then I'm going to go beyond it to here, right? If we were actually spending time crawling, our wrist would go through this action, this forward of our shoulders slightly forward of the fingers and then behind, right? So in crawling, one hand has to do that. And then we're going to do another thing. We're going to bend our elbows and then push, just push up onto your fingers, and then lower your wrist, bend your elbows, come up, press up, and bend, and up, and press up. If you feel like you would like to, you can take this a little further, bending, taking your elbows down, pushing, and pressing up. Lower, elbows to the floor, and press up. So it's a bigger range of motion, but it also gets, when I go all the way down, I can feel the my tricep working a lot more. So it gets the back of my arm. Now, you have the choice of, you could make this a lot easier and not have a lot of weight. Like I've barely got any weight now on my hands, or you can take it forward and put your weight on it and make it a little bit more active. So use what you can do with your body, what feels good to you. Good, and let's relax that, let it go. And again, in and out. I'm going to do a little exercise with the weights. So I'm using 3-pound weights. If you don't have any weights, just use a couple of cans. You can also do this with no weights. So I'm gonna do it seated. You could be standing, you could be in any position. I am going to lift up, rotate, open it out, bring it in, down to the floor. So I could be up here. I'm actually going to come up onto my knees so that my long arms aren't banging the floor, and I can drop my shoulders down, coming up, rotate, open, close, flip, lower, up, rotate, open, close, flip, lower, up, rotate, open, close. Now I'm going to exaggerate this in my chest, and I'm going to squeeze my shoulders back. And I'm going to come in, lower. This would be the opposite version. I think most people don't need more of this in their body, but they probably need more opening. So we're going to come up, flip, open, stick it out, bring it in, flip, and down. If that hurts at all, don't open, just stay there. But if you've got it in you, it's interesting to do this on your knees. I have to try it standing up. I just feel how different that is, because there's something very in that chest opening. Supplicant on your knees version is very, I don't know. I feel like I'm in the temple, down here, like making the offering, and it might be me. So just feeling what those things do in your body. It's funny. Are we safe to open up? Okay, and release and take it down to the floor. Get rid of your weights. It's funny, the things that come into my mind. I'm like, wow, this feels like something, right? When my elbows are in, my hands are open, it's different than this, right? This feels very different. So feel into your own body. Does it bring up anything? Does it remind you of anything? All right, we're taking it down. And for Linda, you're just going to roll from side to side with your whole body. For everybody else, well, you can try it. Just a little spiral, knees going from one side to the other, just feeling how that feels. If you want to take it deeper, take it deeper. For me right now, I really need to roll out my hips and rotators. So I'm using this moment to roll across my butt to release some of the lactic acid that's hanging out in there. And just to open up my sacrum, massaging out the big band of fascia that's coming down here into my lower back. And this is also where all those nerves are coming out, right? So lots of activity down there. Then I'm going to take it onto my back, and I'm going to make circles with my knees. And yes, I'm on my wonderful squeaky floor. I don't think there's any choice. The old house and the squeaky floor just go hand in hand. change direction. Yeah, when I was a kid growing up, I think our house, I had a house in Michigan. I think it was built in the 20s. And the stairway was like, it was a wood stairway. It was covered in, we had carpeting on it, but like, it was like each step had a different, you couldn't come down the stairs without like announcing to the whole house that you were coming down the stairs. This house, interestingly, is pretty old, but you can actually be fairly quiet. It's older. This is built in the either the 1890s or the 1870s. Hands behind your head, elbow to knee, going 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so sneaking out of my house at night was really hard. My mom was a really light sleeper. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Not that I ever snuck out of my house at night, of course, but legs up, circle it out and down. Ha. Pointing your toes to come up, flexing to come down. Work as big or small as you want to. I love these. These are like one of my favorite exercises because we get the work, the core work, but we can take this up higher so we can work more in that curling of the spine. But also we're getting this big range of motion possibility in our feet, in our legs. And we can flex and point as we want to. So really take it as big or as small as feels good to you. I just feel like this one really does a lot. Let it go. Let's take our hands down. You want to touch your heels if possible. Press your pelvis up as high as you can go. Once you get there, interlace your hands behind your butt. Walk your shoulders closer together if possible. You can also just push the floor away. And we're going to tippy toe. Remember how that wrist action, now we're doing our ankles and our feet. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And also, as I'm doing this, I'm pushing the floor away with my arms. And I've totally changed my own breathing. Most important thing is that you don't stop breathing. Unless you're actively practicing breath holds. Okay, we're going to take the feet down and we're going to roll to the outer edge and then the inner edge. So my knees are opening and then my knees are touching. So I'm getting the tissue in my IT band, in my quads, even in my hamstrings to have some more lateral within itself movement so that the fascia and those big bands of like the big bandy fascia, the connective tissue of your IT band, and then the fascia that's easier and kind of oriented in a different direction underneath the IT band. And then all the little muscle casings and tubules are getting all this nice movement, internally rotating and externally rotating. Release, open it up, soften into the floor. And before we do anything else, just give yourself a minute and of free flow spinal movement. Breathe. Shake it out. See if you're holding anything there. Back to this core, right? Core, distal, core. See if you can free up the core, right? We shouldn't be consciously needing to hold anything in there, right? Most holding that we're probably doing in our core is probably subconscious, and nothing's going to fall out. Our guts are kind of vacuum packed in there. And even if you were sliced open, you know that image in movies of all these guts falling out like sausages, that is a complete fallacy. The guts are actually connected to this like a sea fan type thing called the mesentery. And all of those little intestines are connected to that mesentery. So there's this beautiful piece of connective tissue that's keeping them in. So even if you get sliced open, it might come out a little bit, but it's not a bunch of sausages. What a lovely thought. Let's come into a happy baby. It's such a sort of cartoon image But I want to say also, like in my life, I've had a lot of like gut issues, like IBS stuff, this and that. And I've also like held a lot of tension in my belly. And I also want to say that like my belly for me, like was often my trouble spot, right? As a dancer, like it was constantly being commented on, like as a human. Oh, we're not supposed to have these things. It's so ridiculous. My belly is an integral part of my body. It's super important. So I'm learning and have learned to be like, it's fine. All right, let's roll from side to side. But I don't want to be holding extra tension in there or trying to, work it out of existence, right? It's there. I need to be in some kind of loving relationship with it. If I want to be, well, it's helpful in our search towards health. Our cells know what we're thinking about them. Open it up, close it up. Open and close. The next one we're going to open, we're going to stay on our backs and we're just going to circle our wrists and ankles in that open position and change direction other way. And then let's just do some free flow movement. Arms, legs, breathing, letting those tentacles explore the space around you as if you are an octopus, as if you are a sea creature. Give yourself the chance to just feel into them with curiosity and play, right? If we can approach our body from curiosity, humor, and play, then maybe we can be less judgmental and more accepting. Shake it out. And we're going to do twisting. So Linda, don't do this. You can go back to side, or you can just take this moment to do a nice heel rock. If twisting is not for you, heel rock. Relax into it. But if you are twisting side to side, arms on the floor, supporting your back. If you want to make it harder, straight legs. I really have to twist because I'm about to go to pole class after this. And this is a vital part of being warmed up enough to do whatever is going to happen in there. Good. But we're not going to do a whole lot of that. Let's roll back and forth. So rounding your spine. If rolling forward and backwards hurts, go side side. Rolling through your back. I want to offer something because this is more intense. My hair is getting better and better every moment. This may or may not be for you. For my people in my class, you can try it, you can not try it. Really, don't do it if it's going to hurt. What I want to offer is that you can put one knee onto the ground and just do kind of a roll up. So I'm going over my shoulder. I'm going over a shoulder, knee down, and I'm rolling up and through. This is certainly more advanced. However, I feel like I have a lot of people to watch and follow that are more advanced. So feel free to give that a try. Another version to try would be to go up and to come either into a squat or all the way up. Rolly floor, squeaky squeak. And then let's flip over. Coming onto our hands and our knees. Again. Let's open the hands wide and the knees wide and just shift from one side to the other. So shifting, we shifted forward, backward, now we're shifting side, side. See if you can lift one side off, lift the other side off. If you can, maybe you want to try opening it up. Right, so if I really go into the side, if you don't have access to that, here's the easier version. You put one leg down on the floor and you open. Come down, leg is down, supporting your movement. There's usually an easier way to do things. There's also usually a harder way. So choose what feels good to you. So I'm trying to just get into this back bendy position as well, so that I'm here through like a sort of flat back and then coming into more of an arch. And if I want, I can sweep it out. So different ways to get out, different ways to get in. And relax, let it go. Turn your head from side to side, take in the space. Are you safe? Is everything okay? Yes, excellent. So that's one thing that we can do if we're feeling anxious and we want to give our primitive brain the information that we're actually safe, is to look around, take in the environment. I think it's also something that we want to do as humans, especially for all my New York City people. You should be aware of what's happening out there in the world, right? If we want to be safe without being like, oh, is something happening, but being like, what's going on, right? When we're more open and expansive, we have more control. We are less likely to be victimized. If we're kind of in and fearful, that can be spotted from far away, right? So even if you're not feeling like confident and you're walking around in the streets in New York City, try to be big and expansive. That's what they say if you run into a mountain lion. Get big. Don't run. Get big and scary. Each animal has a different thing that you do. So I don't know if you want to do that with a bear. I'm not sure. I just know that about a mountain lion. Get up on a rock. Ah. So I kind of feel like it's the same with people. Like, I know that in New York City, you can out crazy people. If you think somebody's really crazy, and it's possible to out crazy them. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. Curl your toes under, take your butt up to the ceiling, and open your feet wider. So again, we're going to circle around. You can do this with your knees on the floor or not. I'm going to go with my knees bent and my feet are very wide. So I'm not really in a downward dog. I'm in a quadruped and I'm circling wrist, ankle, ankle, wrist. And changing direction, other way. So here's the thing. If I'm working, really thinking from my wrist into my rotator cuff, feeling that connection, building that connection in my own mind, what I'm trying to say is if we're working wrists, we're automatically going to be working rotator cuff. We need to feel that whole connection. But let's just do one rotator cuff exercise that's very safe, very easy. Hands are going to be on your shoulders. You're just going to circle your elbows, trying to touch them together and open them as much as you can. So here's a theme, right? Opening the chest, heart, and lungs. And when we do that in these different ways, it feels different. Like, right? This version is very like, I am sacrificing myself somehow. I don't know why. But this version with my hand is totally different. Or up here, just without the arms doing that, sacrifice. Maybe it's just I'm presenting, but this isn't a strong presentation of self. This is a strong, like, right? This is like my elbows are in, so I'm protecting myself. So if I'm opening but protected because this is close in. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Change direction with those circles. Just can't get away from the fact that I am fascinated by movement and what it reveals. And it's something that we don't spend enough time thinking about or seeing or being taught to think and see, right? If somebody's here squeezing in, like I'm engaging my pecs and my lats to squeeze this in. That's protecting my organs. I'm protecting, I'm squeezed in. If I let that go, I feel very different. All right. And so what does it mean? It doesn't necessarily mean one thing or another. It's just, somebody's protecting themselves. So when I do this, I feel like I'm protecting myself and yet I'm offering myself. So it's like maybe I'm not really wanting to offer myself. I don't know. I'm just blah, blah, blahing. Let's come into a side with our knees on the floor. We're going to come up and again, reach out. You're going to come in and then take it back. Exhale in, reach it out. Into the center, to the periphery. Here we have a big core distal pattern. In, out, in. Fingertips and toes reaching into space, taking up space, opening into your kinesphere. Two more. Last one. This can also be done here, right? If we don't quite have the same amount of strength, put your butt down on the floor. In the wrong or rightness about like fitness or movement, listen to your body. That's a super important thing. Is this going to hurt me? Ask in and listen to the answer. All right, so let's press it up. Exhale, inhale. And I will say sometimes like maybe we're more fearful. It's not coming from the deep wisdom of our body, or maybe it is. But there can be ways of pushing, like for example, in pole class, you can do this. Okay, I'll try it, right? We want to push sometimes too. But we also want to learn how to really listen. Am I being wise? Last one, bring it in. Coming up. So, two versions of this, one with less spiraling, rolling across your butt, just massaging that out. Ha, you can even get onto a butt cheek, I'll show it here, and just kind of move around. So then I'm getting the shear of the movement like this, right? It's not doing this, it's doing that shear. On the other side, same thing. So it's shear force between like my muscles, the floor, gives my muscles a chance to move differently. So like if I'm rolling something, it's going to go like this, rolling across the muscle, right? If I shear, I'm moving it like that. And we want to have all the different things. We want to have all that different possibility. So here's the spiral version, taking it down. You can even shear down there. I can get the whole IT band into my tensor fascia lata and hip by just moving around. Squishing, moving, breathing. And also, as I'm doing this, I've got this rotator cuff into wrist relationship. I can push and pull with the floor, pushing and pulling, feeling how my arms are connecting into my body. And again, so we can have very different things from the same exercise depending on what we are putting our awareness into, or what we're asking for from ourselves. I'm trying to mumble less. Maybe sometimes it works if I slow down. All right, next one. Again, let's just do this stretch first. So in the interest of equal opportunity for the wrists and ankles, you're going to reach one leg back, push through your heel, arch and open. Draw your shoulders down. I'm really pushing back with my heel and I'm arching. Ha. Then I'm going to come over the top of my foot, pointing my foot, and I'm going to push down. And I'm going to push with my hands and my foot and round. Curling. Pushing back through my heel, arching and opening. And then coming forward over the top of my foot, pushing with my arms, pushing with my leg, rounding. Last one. Back and over the top. Switch it to the other side, reaching back through your heel, open it up, and exhale, hollow and curl. So thinking about like stretching, right? I'm stretching back. I can feel a stretch in my Achilles and calf here. If my body is dry, if I haven't been drinking enough water, if I'm very dehydrated, when I'm stretching my muscles, I'm asking them to do something without a lot of support. So especially in the morning, make sure that even if you drink coffee, make sure you drink some water before, maybe during, and certainly after, so that you're not taking water away from your body and then asking it to do things. And release. So movement hydrates by taking the water that you drank and redistributing it, right? We do movement, things shift around, the water in our body, the extracellular matrix is shifting. And that's all the stuff that's not a cell. It's supporting the fascia. It's all kind of like snotty or gelatinous. But when we move, and it's not like, oh, now I've moved and now that gelatin is like, if you stirred Jello, how like weird and crunchy it would be. It's like, no, now it's readjusted and reformed with integrity. So movement gives our inner body more integrity. What does that mean? It means it's holding together well, and it's got more capacity for strength, for mobility, for release, all the stuff. All right, let's take it onto our forearm plank. One knee to the floor at a time, parallel. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Twisting underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. One more. Leg up. Alternating sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep breathing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Take it down. Melt into the floor. Soften. Wag your tail. Release your back. And then take your arms out in front of you. Let's just do regular old Pilates swimming, but with a pumping breath. So huffing and puffing, big, deep diaphragmatic breathing, great for your lymph. Off we go. Lift the whole thing up, arch and open. Let's go up and down a few times. Inhale, lift, looking up. Exhale, taking it down. Freedom in the inner body. One more. If you want to bend your knees, try to touch your head to your toes. Go for it. And then take it back into a child's pose. Shift from side to side. Let your forehead give itself a massage. Back of the neck, easy and loose. If your head doesn't touch down, easy. Put your head on your hands or put a block underneath you. So if you don't have access to totally dropping down, get something, a pillow, your hands, a block, whatever you need. And then take it in, roll it up, and let's do, what do we want to do? Maybe some side lying. Let's do one side lying thing. Coming onto your side. I'm going to go ahead in my hands, both legs down, straight down below me. So I'm not in the Pilates pike. I'm going to rotate in and out, in and out, in, out, in, out. Oh, my feet are I'm going to flex my feet because they're cramping. In and do 4 more. Out, in, out, in, out, in, out, and relax. And so a good indication in my body when it starts to cramp, too much coffee, not enough water. That's what my body is saying by that cramping. And which I didn't have, I had my normal amount, which is probably too much, but I have 1 big cup of coffee. That's it for the rest of the day. If I have more caffeine, I get too excited. We're going to kick up. So going up, in, up, and down. Batma, passe, Batma, lower. I'm flex, point, point, flex. You can do anything you want with your feet if you can think about them. Again, remembering that like toes into hips are like fingers into rotator cuff, right? So the more we can feel that whole relationship, the whole leg, one big connected leg moving into our body. 3 more. 2. Last one. And let's bend our knees, tap that out for a second. So for me, where I'm feeling it the most right now is like right, sort of as my muscles come toward my sacroiliac. I feel it right there. So I'm just going to release that a little bit more. It might be different on you. Tap down my leg, get some movement in there. And then we're going to go with, let's go knee to the ceiling, all the way up and down, going 1. I let my pelvis move on this one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tap it out. And then we're going to go in and out. So I'm going to stay a little more stable in my pelvis, but I'm going to turn my knee in and then my foot to my foot, toes to my foot, in and out. 5, 6, 7, 8. Getting that femur head in the hip socket. 11, 12. I think that we did 10 of those other things, and then we did 12 of these. If I'm wrong, feel free to unmute and let me know. And let's cross that ankle over your knee, draw it in, or just even it out for yourself. Breathing into your stretch. Taking the stretch in whatever way you need it. So listen to your body and adjust. This leg doesn't need to be straight. I just need it that way for me to get the stretch I need. So listen to your own body and release. Shake it out. Let your weight drop into the floor. And then roll, and let's flip it over to the other side. Taking it down. And we're going to Batma, passe Batma. Oh no, we're going to go first with this, straight down below, pointed toes, turning in and out. In and out. Rotate, rotate. In, out, in, out. And then flex, same thing. In, out. So when I flex, I can get more movement in my ankle, right? I can just move from my hip, or I can move and let my foot go in a little bit more. It's up to you. I feel like my body needs that, so I'm going to let the foot do that extra bit of rotation. So it's not just happening in my hips, it's also happening in my foot and ankle. Last one. Yeah, I've done a lot of ballet, and as a consequence, my body needs a little more of this to adjust for all of the external rotation and pointing that I've done. I need some of this so that the tissue can go both ways. Bidirectional. It's really much more than bidirectional. It's like multidirectional. What tissue is doing inside the system of our body, which is a system of biotensegrity. Hello, Buckminster Fuller. Up and down. Up, but we're alive. In, up, and down. Flex it up, point it in, up and down. There are 2 geodesic domes that are maybe 10 minutes from my house. They are on the way between Kingston and Woodstock. And like, I would just love to have a dance center there or a movement center there. But I have a friend who's a architect, and he's like, Laura, those domes have all sorts of leaking problems, all sorts of problems. Anyway, last one. But I just love them. They're like 2 boobs right next to each other on the highway. I'm like, that would be perfect. Like meditation, dance, movement, all the things. And yet I really don't want to be that kind of a business owner and have to deal with that aspect. Off we go, up and down. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 12. 4. If you need to just do 10, do it. 5. Maybe I did 15. I don't even know. I think I did 10. I'm just going to lose count, so I don't even know what I'm doing. 3 more. 2. Last one. When I first started teaching fitness at Equinox, at a gym, and I was teaching like Pilates-ish stuff, I would make people do those exercises forever. And I think that is not a great idea. People don't need that much external rotation. We don't do it very much as humans, right? Our normal things are like walking, running. Those are parallel activities. Tap it out. As I said on the other side, this side isn't quite the same. This side, I don't feel it back here so much. Then in and out. Knee and toes, going 1. A little more stable in the pelvis. 2, 3, 4, 5. If I feel like I really lengthen down both sides of my body, it feels better in this hip socket. Otherwise, it can get a little clicky and weird. 3 more. 2. Last one. And roll it onto your back. Yeah, I feel like, and like those burn, like their bar burn, It's like, wow, people are already holding so much tension in their bodies. Teaching people to hold more tension and to work these little tiny intrinsic muscles so much more is not always the most functionally uh, responsible, let's say that, or effective. And release and shake it out, let it go. And let's roll over. We're going to do one final arm thing, and it's going to be push-ups with our, I'm going to do regular push-ups. So I define like this is a tricep push-up. My elbows are right next to my side. For me to do a pec push-up, I mean, all your body's working, but it's more pec. My elbows are going to go out to the side, and for me, my hands are going to be more wide open. Some people can do it tighter, and that's fine. And I'm also not going to go so deep. When I go in this push-up, I'm not going below here. So I'm not going there because sometimes that can put a lot of pressure, especially for women. Not quite the same for men. It depends on how much strength training you've done. But all of this rotator cuff stuff, I'm just going to go here and try and stay strong. I'm not going to push through it where it puts any kind of weirdness in the front of my deltoid. So having said all that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a knee drop and then a push up. Knee drop, push up. Knee drop, push up. You could also do push up, knee lift, push up, knee lift, however you want to do it. But getting that knee drop in the middle adds a certain sort of je ne sais quoi. No, I do know what it is. It requires a little bit more core work. 4 more. I'm going to change the other ones. 3, 2. When my knees are on the ground and I don't have so much weight, I can go deeper. Last one. Taking it in, hands behind. Now I'm going to open that up. If it doesn't feel good to drop your head back, don't. If it feels good, do. It's up to you. And then release that. And let's come into a forward fold, standing on your legs. You can shift from side to side, bend one knee, bend the other. Let your head hang down. Soften and melt. Free up your spine, tail the head. Breathe. Let's just do a couple of deep plies here. So I'm going to go parallel. My feet are wider than my sticky mat. Knees over the toes, down into a squat. And then I'm going to take it into a deep stretch. So bending and then stretching. Bending and stretching. If I really want to go nuts, I can get my butt down to the floor, take my hands up. That is just an option, right? Hello. And then I'm going to bring my feet a little closer together, walk them in, bend one knee, bend the other, shake out my head, nod, shoulders relaxed, bending my knees and coming all the way up to the top. Inhale, feel the space around you. Feel your body in the space around you. Feel the space inside of you. Breathing. Opening into the space and just feeling what your body feels like now versus the beginning. Opening up, core distal, center to periphery. Yeah, when I take my arms up over my head, I can feel the stretch here in my abs. I can also reach more. Letting it go, letting it come down. All right. Quick finish. TV Land, please like and subscribe. And give me money. Just thought I'd throw